Okay, hi, thank you. And I know on the program it says you're going to hear from Michael Brown, who's my boss, but I'm not bald, but I have modeled a building, so maybe that's a good trade-off, I'm not sure. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what we do, and then I'm going to focus on one of the projects we've been working on and how BIM has been really critical to that success, and some of you may have seen it or not. Let's see if I can work this thing. I can. Oh, look at it, and the font totally changes, which makes it kind of techno, which is great. Okay, so for those of you who are not from Calgary, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the acronym CMLC is, Calgary Municipal Land Corporation. As Bruce said, I'm the Vice President of Projects for that company, and we oversee quite a big region in Calgary, kind of the east side of downtown, East Village, we've called it, and now actually moving into another part of the area. But we're a collection of a whole source of different backgrounds. So we've got architecture, engineering, a lot of programming, a lot of marketing people in our firm. We only have 20 of us right now at our shop, but we're all collaborators, and there's no way of bringing this village theme together without all of us working together. And it sounds really trite, but it is actually true. It's not about just development, just buildings, or just engineering. It's really about after the building is done, how do we program it? How do we get people to come out and do yoga? How do we do food truck frenzy? How do we really get the village to become a village? And it really starts from us, our internal village at the office. So our district, how many of those here are from Calgary? So I don't repeat myself. Most of you are from Calgary. So most of you, and of those who've been to East Village, well done, good job. A few years ago I did that quiz and hardly anyone had gone down, which is fine, nor had I. So the red outline is our district, and that's where we're spending most of our time. A few years ago though, we were asked by City Council to look at the rest of Calgary as well. So now we've started to spread our mandate a little bit wider, but I'm going to focus on this area today. And the East Village is on the top right in the yellow. That's where we spent most of our time. And we're starting to look now at the Rivers District South, the white zone in the back. So spending more time thinking about where the potential arena, if that ever happens, back at the table now. The expansion of the BMO Centre, which we're involved in with Calgary Stampede, and all the other pieces that come to there. So I'm not going to focus too much on all the different projects we're working on, because it starts to make me a bit anxious, but I'm going to focus on one of the projects that is really about, really took true advantage of the BIM services. But before I get into all of those, we put out tons of RFPs. I'm sure some of you have responded to the RFPs that we've put out. And we go through so many proposals, and it's actually one of the most fascinating things about my job, going from consulting and teaching to this side of the table, is actually leafing through everyone's proposals and getting to be a bit snoopy. It's really interesting. Everyone says they do BIM, and it's kind of, we ask, how are you going to manage the project? How are you going to do really well? How are you going to help us succeed? And when you just say, we're going to do BIM, and then have that be your sentence, it's really not enough. It's about BIM plus, let's say. What more are you going to do? Sure, you understand building modeling and you get how that works. Good for you, that's fantastic now. And I know there's many technical components to how to do it well, how do you share information, how do you actually use the model to your advantage through construction, et cetera, et cetera. But what we're looking for, at least from CMLC's perspective, and I'm sure other owners, if there are other owners in the room, it's looking at what else are you going to do with that tool? How are you going to use that tool to your advantage? How are you going to collaborate with your other consultants, your subs, to make it actually effective and even more helpful for the project to succeed? That's really what we're looking at. That's the kind of BIM plus distinguisher to how to really make the projects shine. So the BIM alone, it seems like from our perspective, not quite enough. You need to go even further to figure out, first of all, explain it to the owner. What is it? How does it work? How does it benefit the owner? How does it benefit the project? How does it benefit the trades? How does it everyone come out ahead? Because I think those answers are there, and they're very honest. But just saying we do BIM is kind of not enough yet. And I think there's so much more. And we've actually seen some great consultants come up with those ideas and showcase some of those along the way. So as we look at the one example, which is a pretty big project, the new central library right now is under construction, almost complete, opening its doors November 1st of this year. And it will open November 1st of this year. It relied heavily, as you can imagine, on the BIM process. And it didn't rely on just one person. This is just a snapshot. I think we put this slide together 2016, maybe 17, of all the consultants that we could get a headshot for, including someone's dog is in there if you can find it. But it does take a team. It really, there's representatives from Dialogue here, Intuitive, Snøhetta, SMP, everyone that has touched the project, and behind each of those acronyms is 10 to 15 people who have touched this project. So I'm standing here talking about this project. I very much did not do this project alone. This is a collaboration, and I think it's a good metaphor for BIM. How does it all come together? And how do all these people from various laptops, from various service points, come together to create this project? So just taking a step back, we approached the project a little differently. So CMLC was asked to be the developer on this project, and we had to navigate the how and the what. And that's how we kind of broke it down for the library, because it was kind of odd when we were chosen to do this project. The library was a little bit cranky about it. I had people rip a strip off me a couple of times in 2013. What are you going to do to the project? You're going to ruin it. And how can we trust you, Kate? And those are really fun meetings. But eventually we gained their trust, and we said, this is a project for Calgary. This is one of the biggest civic projects we're going to be doing as a community for the past 20 plus years. So let's do it right. So we really became the filter between, we describe it, the how and the what. So the what was the library telling us what they needed, what they thought in terms of meeting rooms, what they thought in terms of the book movement, which we've called the book escalator that's in the building now, that goes and you put your book in and it goes up 2 floors. It's pretty crazy. And they told us all the what we needed and why we were doing it. They had to understand the vision. They had to have their own vision as well. And then we translated that with our team, again, that picture of many, many, many people, to come together with the design team and the construction team to deliver it. So that model we've actually carried through on a few other projects that we're working on through East Village. We're helping Fort Calgary now. We're helping Calgary Housing Company Corporation, and obviously all of our infrastructure work with also Calgary Stampede, Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation. So we're really trying to be the translator between the how and the what. So that takes, as you all know, many, many, many meetings. It doesn't just happen. This was, I think, 2013 or 14, one of the various sessions we had with the design team, sat down for 6 hours every couple weeks or more to talk through what this building should be. How do we build over a train? What does this look like? How do we do this properly? One thing about the train, we did have to do a bunch of pre-thinking on the site we were given. For those who don't know, the site has this rising, curving train in the middle of it. Really makes it super easy to get into. Kind of bisects the site to create these 2 half-moon shaped remnants. And so it was a real challenge to understand how to design something over that. But the very first challenge we had to jump over was, can we build over an active train in Calgary? Sure, it's been done elsewhere in North America and Europe. It hadn't been done in Calgary over an active train. So every time you do something for the first time, there's lots of learning, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of kind of initial mistrust and kind of, can this work? So we had a lot of meetings with Calgary Transit, which again was really lots of fun. But for that we used the team, not me, but the team really relied heavily on proving out systems. Does this work? Can this work? How fast can we get that in? They gave us a really generous window. Calgary Transit gave us the generous window of between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. to build anything we needed over the train. And that's including we had to power up and power down during that time. So over time, we got them to do, I think we had 8 weekend shutdowns at the end, which at the start we weren't going to get. But that was all relying a lot on our consultants and proving out, how quickly can we get those double Ts on, is a 40-hour shutdown enough to just build the top of this building and top of the encapsulation. So that was step 1 for the project, really seeing if it could work. And we did prove it out. This is just an interesting section from the model as well. So the team pulled together a very complicated model. And I'm going to show you a few shots here that show the model and then show the reality built. So I think that's a pretty powerful moment to, you've got all the spaghetti of the M&E below the raised floor here. It was amazing to watch them actually construct it and put every single point of the raised floor structure on the concrete under slab, and then figure out all the routing from the BIM model and then have it be all built. So that's kind of from a screen capture from the BIM model, and there is the inside of the library probably about a month ago. Now we have shelves. It looks more like a library today on the inside, but you can see all of the electrical points popping through. Those are for the lit shelves that we just installed so that the books actually shine and you can read the titles. This is a shot of the mechanical penthouse. It was amazing. All of Stuart Olson's subs and even the guys on site were amazed at how few coordination errors we had up there. Saved the city and the taxpayer tons of time and cost in terms of fixes. I've never been involved with a mechanical room that's gone this smoothly. And there's the before and then the after. I really think that they should have kept some of the color coding because it made it look a little bit more fun in the final build out, but that's the mechanical penthouse of the library. Here's another shot. As you come into the building, it was really important when we were designing the building. The building is designed, and as you experience it in the fall, you'll see it goes, we call it from fun to serious. So it goes from really public gathering, open gathering space, likely going to be used for a host of events, weddings, different fundraisers, everything, kids running around. Then there's an actual cafe, there's a children's area, and then it goes a little bit more serious as you go up, and a little quieter to the great reading room at the very top, and it has a wood-lined, kind of more like a New York Public Library feel at this top of the building. But the idea with this atrium, which was a feat in and of itself for smoke modeling and everything else to get it to happen, was that you could read, excuse the pun, but read the building, that you could see up and you could see where different people were, and that's the effect of as you come in. So then you see the actual result under construction, and now the scaffolding is gone and you can actually see the full deal. But this is a shot of the atrium space, and you can see the solar shades at the top as well. We had this really complicated stair that's right at the north tip. So for those who know the area, the building kind of projects with a prow-like shape towards the tracks, these LRT tracks. And it has this stair that needed to be self-supporting because it was built right over the temporary encapsulation. So it required some really complicated geometry and connection between the curtain wall detail, the structure detail, and all the segmented pieces of steel. So we had to kind of model this and move it into Tekla for 3D live editing, and it was quite much more complicated than it looked like in the original renderings, I'll have to say that. But it got built, and there's a shot of the inside. This is January of this year, so lots has changed. There's a lot more wood in that picture now, but that stair is anticipated. You can see where Dana, one of our site supers, is walking up the stairs, and then to the right of her, it's going to be a ton of cushions and places for people to hang out and sit. And then right where all that garbage is going to be a satellite cafe. So you can imagine getting a coffee before going to the children's play area a little bit further up the library. There's just an overall shot of the model from the northwest, and then a shot in construction of October of last year. So we obviously relied heavily on what the model could bring for us. So I'm going to show you a little a video, a time-lapse video, and apologies if anyone has seen this before, but I think it's really powerful to see what that team of collaborators really brought. And I think this project has been the epitome of kind of BIM plus, let's say, that it was a collaboration. There were many conflicts. There were many hard moments where we thought, how are we going to solve this? And collectively, all those people that you saw put their collective experience and know-how together along with the tool, and we're really getting there. We're not quite there, but we're really close. So I just wanted to show that video because I think it shows the sequence of events. So, oh, do I have to? Kind of example of a great project for you guys, and I hope, CMLC can't do these projects without that team of people and without the kind of creative resources that are in this room as well. So thanks for letting me speak.
What you as an owner, you are demanding on that BIM Plus?
I think it's more of an explanation of how BIM really works. Because what I'm saying about BIM Plus is, great, you do BIM. You have your project modeled and you're going to coordinate it and catch errors. What more does that mean? So it's more of an opportunity for you to explain the benefits rather than just relying on the word BIM. Just saying, our firm does BIM and we're leaders in BIM. Great, I'll just tell you that every single person who puts in a proposal says they're a leader in BIM, which is great. But now you have to distinguish yourself, because I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, that wasn't the case. Most people wouldn't say that they were leaders in BIM because they weren't. But now everyone is saying that they're a leader. What makes you the actual leader? What distinguishes you as opposed to your other colleagues or your competitors on the job? Is it that you not only model the project, but you run it through a QA/QC model that is second to none, that you've worked with the other consultants before, and this is an established model that has shown benefits. Here are the tangible results that we were able to save our last owner, X amount of time, or we went from change orders that were in the 200s to change orders in the 50s. What does that quantifiably mean, your BIM? BIM is no longer just enough to say you do BIM well. You have to explain it, because I'd say most of us owners are not as knowledgeable as you think we are in terms of, and maybe you don't think owners are knowledgeable, and I agree with that sometimes as well. But just explain the benefits. I think, a conference like this is probably helping you, flesh out some of the issues, but what are some of the tangible benefits that brings it to that higher level? Not just we model our building. Great, good for you. Now show me what it means.